So yeah, I created the brand for me, and then some of my friends really like it. So some of my friends were okay. Let me buy you one. Come on. Then I created my Instagram. So I started posting every hat I did, and yeah, that's how I grew up.
I told you all.
It was all a dream.
Welcome to It Was All a Dream with me, Nathersonn. Today I'm joined by Genis. Genis, if you want to introduce yourself, let the people know who you are and what it is you do.
What up, y'all? My name is Genis Whylan. I'm the founder of my brand called WHYHATS. I've been doing handmade hats for about 5 years now. So it's a pleasure to be here, man.
No, it's an absolute pleasure. I'm a big fan of your work, to be fair. I come across you on Instagram, immediately had to follow, and that what you do is a true art. I like it. So
Thank you, man.
I see that you've always been into art.
More or less. I mean, I started since I was a kid. I started playing guitar. So my first work was to be a musician for all my life. But I always had a passion for hats. So I always been wearing hats. But one day I discovered that I can do those hats that I'm wearing by my hands.
Yeah. How old were you when you discovered that?
It was 5 years ago when I
Okay.
started the brand. Yeah. It was 5 years ago that I was living in Ibiza and I met a hat maker there, but he was making like kind of way different hats than the ones I was looking for. He was doing like kind of pirate, dirty, distressed hats. So I was like, oh, this guy is making his own style, so I want to do mine too.
Oh, perfect. So would you say it was kind of always a dream that you wanted to do, was to go into an artist avenue or hat making?
I always had some passion to do art. Like I had a lot of bands. So when you're a musician, you're already creating something. But yeah, I always have a lot of respect for painters and people who works on art. So I think that more or less I find the kind of art that I can do.
Yeah. So what would you say really inspired you to go into what would you say really inspired you to go into hat making? Was it meeting the artists? I know that you're heavily inspired by the American like culture. I'm assuming people like Yellow Wolf and people like that are a huge inspiration to you.
Exactly. I mean, the first reason why I start wearing hats, it was because of some musicians. Like I think the first hat I tried on, it was because I discovered a musician called Gary Clark Jr. Probably you know it.
Yeah.
He's super talented guy. So this guy was wearing a lot of hats, so I really like that style. And then I discovered like Yellow Wolf and other artists. So I find like my style on that. I was like, I want to wear like this. I want to wear a hat all the time. So yeah, I start buying like cheap hats. I didn't have any idea about the quality of the hats. And then yeah, when I get into the hat making world, I start learning the difference between the qualities and the felts and all that stuff.
No, it's perfect, man. So how old would you say you was when you discovered it was a dream? I know you said it was about 5 years ago. So how
Yeah,
old was you roughly?
I'm 26 now. So when I discovered all this world, I was like 20. And when I first started my brand, I was like 21. Yeah. So yeah, 5 years, 6 years, more or less. But I've been
That's
wearing hats,
amazing.
as I told you, I've been wearing hats since I was, I don't know, 14.
Yeah, that's amazing. And you know, some of your designs are absolutely amazing. Just like the detail, I was showing my brother-in-law some of the ones that you had done, and I also like the way that you stick to a theme on how you take the photos on a cactus. That's amazing.
Yeah.
So I know that we obviously just touched on a couple of people that inspired you to start like wearing hats, but who would you say really inspired you, or was some of your idols that kind of pushed you to stick to being creative or brought out your most creative side?
I mean, for my creating side, I will not say any artist, because the artists that I follow, it was an inspiration to wear them. But to start them, I was always like trying to find that kind of hats that they were wearing, but it was so expensive here in Spain, and yeah, so expensive and so hard sometimes. So I was like, okay, I met this guy in Ibiza who made hats. I was like, I want to do this kind of hats, the same ones that those people wear.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was just me, and start searching about info. It was so hard. It was a long journey, but yeah, finally a few years ago I find the right way, the right materials to do it. But yeah, I will not say I had any inspiration about that. It was just me and my passion to wear the kind of hats I was looking for.
Oh, perfect. And that, so you was your own inspiration, technically.
Yeah, to
Yeah.
start creating hats, it was something in me that I was like, oh, I want to do this shit.
Yeah, that's fair. That's cool. So I get that as well, you know. I'm normally my own biggest inspiration with that sort of stuff. I normally have a vision and that's what inspires it. It's just my own vision.
I never had a vision. I mean, for me, it just was. I never created white hats to be a business. I just created to do my own hats.
Yeah.
And for me, I was just so excited to make that kind of hats for me, because I never had one in my hands. I mean,
Yeah.
the only kind of cowboy hat or fedora hat, I got it in Texas when I was in Texas, but it was like a classic one. So I was like, no, I want something more like, distressed and with feathers and with
Yeah.
cool chains, blah blah blah. So yeah, I created the brand for me, and then some of my friends really like it. So some of my friends were, okay, let me buy you one. Come on. Then I created my Instagram, so I started posting every hat I did, and yeah, that's how it grew up.
No, that's perfect, man. So I would say that you've achieved quite good success with, especially venturing out on your own. I know it's a hard industry to do, especially hat making.
Yeah.
And also probably being in Spain might be a bit more harder to source like resources and stuff like that. So how would you say that you've achieved the success that you have? Would you say it was from social media, networking, hard
Yeah,
work?
social media, maybe, yeah, 90% it's from social media, because I always say that I'm not a fake person, so everything I showed on my Instagram it's me and my things. So I think, if as I know it sounds typical, but if you believe in yourself and the person who you are, people will feel that, and they will like to follow you. I think that's the first, yeah, like the first step to success. So I always be me on my social media, like on the hats I do, on the videos I do. So yeah, it's always me, and the real me. And what else did you ask? Sorry.
That was more or less it. It was more of just how did you achieve it? Would you say that it was
Oh
being
yeah, you say
authentic?
if it's, yeah. I mean, here in Spain, it's really hard to sell hats, because people doesn't wear hats at all here. So like 90% of my sales are on the outside of Spain, and probably an 80% of my total sales are in the US.
Yeah.
So yeah, it will be it will be impossible without the social media, because people will not discover me.
Yeah, perfect. Perfect. And then so what would you say has been your proudest moment in your career so far?
The proudest moment.
Yeah.
Wow, that's difficult to choose, but I mean, dude, last year, 2023 was fucking crazy, because I met people that I never imagined I'll met them. Like, when it was so funny, because I was like chilling one day working here, and one of my best friends wrote me on WhatsApp. He told me like, dude, fucking Tommy Lee's following you, and I was like, what? No, I didn't know. So I checked it on Instagram, and he was following me for about 2 weeks, and I didn't notice that.
Wow.
Yeah, so I was like, dude, what the fuck? So I wrote him. I wrote Tommy Lee like, dude, thanks for following. And at the moment, he was like, dude, I want one of those hats. So we did the hat for Tommy, and in 2 months after, he came to play in Madrid. So he invited us to the show on the backstage. We met him, and dude, that was fucking crazy.
Amazing.
I never imagined that I will. Yeah, that was crazy. And yeah, I think that's the most beautiful thing, that you met people that you will never imagine you will met for your work.
Yeah.
So that's crazy. That. Yeah, I think that was the craziest moment of the brand.
Yeah, that's amazing, man. And to be fair, I mean, like you said, you're heavily inspired by music too. So to have somebody of Tommy Lee like status to do that must have been incredible for you, right?
It is. It is. I mean, we also met Yellow Wolf this year because we traveled to Nashville and we met him. So it's crazy when you met your fucking idols just because of your work.
Yeah.
That's the thing. So yeah, I mean, this last year was crazy, man. It's what
Yeah, that's
last year
amazing,
was.
man. That's
Yeah,
amazing.
I feel so proud.
You should be. You should be. You know,
Yeah,
especially like you said, being in the middle of Spain where your product's not really sought after
yeah. And
in
you know what?
Spain.
I came from a little town, so it's like nobody get it there. Nobody understands what I'm doing. You know,
You've got the
even
vision though.
some of the people that I know from my town, they are still asking me, but hey, but do you live for that? You know, it's like your main work. And I was like, yeah, bro, it's my main work. What the fuck? You don't understand. They don't get it. It's
Yeah.
crazy. Huh?
And then last question is anybody listening that kind of wanted to follow in your footsteps of either going into like hat making or just starting their own career, really,
Yeah.
what advice would you give them?
Um First of all, to buy the course that we just dropped.
Talk
Yeah.
about the
I
course.
mean,
What is the course?
it's called Headmaster White Hat Headmaster course. So I created this because there's always a lot of people asking me about how to start making hats, and I know it's hard as fuck. It's so hard
Yeah,
because if you see my videos, maybe you can try to do the same thing by yourself, and probably after a few tries, you will know how to make hats. But the thing is that there are the suppliers and some little details that it's so hard to learn because nobody will tell you, and you will not find this info on internet. So that's why we created the hat mastery course for the people who wants to start. um and maybe in if you see that the course is about 2 hours and a half, so after 2 hours and a half you will learn everything you need to know to start making
amazing.
hats. So that's where I can recommend you guys.
Get the course.
Yeah, that's all I can tell you. And well, I tell this on the course too, like as I did, just try to be yourself, try to create your own style and hats. Because I see some hat makers, new hat makers, who are like copying um another ones, and I think it's good to get some inspiration from another hat makers, but dude, just do your own style. I respect a lot if you take some ideas from another artist, but it has to be to create your own style.
Yeah, for sure. Perfect. Well, that wraps it up for this episode. Last thing I want to do is just let people know where they can follow you, get your hats. So just give yourself a plug. Where can they buy the course?
Okay, so first of all, the fastest way to get in contact with me, it will be through my Instagram, WHYHATS. Then you can also visit my website, whyhats.es. And that's all. You can find the course on the website, and you can see everything I do on my Instagram. That's all.
Perfect. Well, I appreciate you jumping on, man. It was a great episode. It was great to finally talk to you.
Cool, man. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure to be here.
Thank you for tuning into this episode of It Was All a Dream. We appreciate your time and support. We hope that you enjoyed the episode and you feel inspired to achieve your dreams. Be sure to give us a follow on social media. We're on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube and Twitter, where you can contact us and stay connected with us if you have any feedback on the episodes or guest recommendations.